I always hated industry in city skylines. I can never make it look good, it looks ugly, it pollutes, and I just don't want to have it in my city. So why not just build a city without industry? I started on this map with a lot of islands, and then I began like any other city. First a bit of terraforming, then some streets, some alleys moving off them, some cul-de-sacs at the end, and then some normal zoning. I started with a bunch of seafront housing, then I sprinkled in some of the new Chinese commercial buildings, right at the points of major intersections where it makes sense to have higher traffic volume and therefore commercial shops. I added energy, water infrastructure, and a sewage outlet, and just like that I had a small village going. Pretty nice location on these cliffs, even with the view of the bridge, and I'm sure as these houses level up, they will be very, very popular. A total of 127 people moved in so far, but of course we need more to profitably afford services. So I added some more streets towards the highway with some medium density housing, just with enough spacing to the highway that there's not too much sound, and a lot of trees to help buffer it all out. With these additions we reached a population of 200, but of course we need to expand further down the island, so I got back to terraforming. I managed to come up with this. So a lot of new area I can zone. It is even getting the first special building, Fleur de Thé, right here on this half island. Pretty nice location, right next to these stones, overlooking the cliffs on the other side. Then we can make use of some of the Mediterranean housing, right here along the coast, and row houses towards the front, with some commercial area. We can add even more commercial right here, kind of like tourist shops, towards this half island, but as soon as we unlock it, this will also get a park, but for now we only have paths, so we just add what we can. Maybe even a fountain right here in the middle. That's a pretty nice area. Why not? People can even go bathing here, and we're getting in a lot higher density with these Italian buildings. Up top we can do almost the same thing, some commercial towards the back, and then a bunch of row houses just to fill up the density. Now we see that things are zoning in, but the only demand we have left is industry. But we will just ignore it because in this city we're not building industry. This cliff area here is way too beautiful to pollute with industry. Don't mind this sewage outlet, which is just throwing the sewage down in the river. Also, I never noticed how bad this animation here is, and why does it just cut off? Paradox, I think you could have done better. We're now up to 500 population, but we now need hospital services. We're technically profitable, but that's only because we don't have any services so far. Let's get in a small medical clinic right here, where it has good access to all these things. The ambulances are leaving immediately. They have a lot of clients. And then we have some dead people that we need to take care of as well. For that, I'm unlocking the crematorium. Let's try to fit it in right here at the end of town. Milestone 3. Yeah, it looks pretty interesting here on this hillside, but it's missing road access. Let's add that, and the hearses should also be able to leave immediately. That has our service needs covered for now, and we're getting new demand for commercial. Let's zone a bit more of that here, and we can even add a path in between going over here, just so these areas are not that disconnected from everything. It's really coming along. I think it's already autumn. I love how these trees change color, but with all these new services we're losing money. Not that much, but usually it is the industry that gives the most tax revenue. We have 50% unemployment because you can only work in commercial buildings, and even for that there's not too much space. Let's add a bunch more trees and then expand on the other side of the highway. These trees always make everything look really, really nice, but now we can't focus anymore on making things nice because we need money and we need to expand. So let's lay out some streets to zone on this other side over here. First, I'm moving along the contour line. This is basically all the area we can work in. It somehow looks like an F1 track, but I think we may be able to make it work in an interesting way. I've never tried something like this, but what if we just add streets in the middle and then also just zone in the middle? I'm not sure how this will look, but we'll find out. Let's try it out with some medium density buildings here first. So right in the middle, then let's add commercial. That is the only thing we have demand for anyway. And that is also what gives us jobs. And we can also set a new special building, Riverside Grill. Let's throw that in here. Maybe it makes people want to move here. look at all these fuel stations next to each other. Is this a thing? Are there really that many fuel stations in the city? Even with this new area, our city is not really moving forward. Growth is slow and I guess even very stagnant. If we take a look at city growth, we even shrinked. So something needs to change. Let's try if we can get more people in by reducing taxation for residents basically to 0. And yeah, that immediately spikes our growth. We have now 2 arrows up. So hopefully this helps and we're not in massive need for money right now anyway. I'm even going to lower the health and death care budget to like 70%. Good thing is we're making money with electricity. Maybe we can even expand our wind park at least a tiny bit. And let's also give it some details just to make it look nice with all these dirt road circles. Maybe these are just lines so cars can check and fix any problems if there are problems in these wind turbines. This is how it looks now, maybe even connected up to the roundabout. But I think it looks pretty nice. And just from the tile making these circles, we almost doubled our population. We have people moving in here in these medium density houses. This is all through the tax cuts. So that was definitely the right decision. And that also makes us hit milestone 4, which is very interesting because it unlocks offices. Offices could really help us, especially for our unemployment, which is currently up to 60%, and because they create jobs. The problem with offices, if I try to put some right here, is that you don't get office demand unless you have industry. So what if we build industry just for a second to spark office demand and then delete it again? I'm not sure if this works, but we will find out. So now this sparked office demand. Now we can dezone the industry again and zone more offices, which are still zoning in. So I just successfully scammed the simulation to spawn in offices without having industry. No industry building was ever built, but we have offices now, and this also sparked population growth apparently. That's great. We have more people moving in. And now it's also about time we get a police station and a fire station. I've put them right here to the wind park. And we even now got a special Italian building that are zoned here from the special buildings. Population is growing fast. We have offices that are still zoning in. So once you have offices, you don't need any more zoned industry. So what I just did worked perfectly fine. I'm even gonna zone more office right here inside this racetrack. We can see all these cars coming in, and what these offices do is just really boost our taxation income, but they also require things, educated people, so we need to spend money on schools now. Let's add a small elementary school as well as a small high school for now. That also almost takes all of our money, so we have a lot to make back now, but hopefully our growth as well as the offices will take care of that. Unemployment is now down to 46%, so 15% down from the peak of 60% so far. That's looking good, but our city is far from being successful. We're losing money and we don't even have trash collection or parks yet. We just unlocked milestone 5, but let's just wait for a bit and see what happens. I'll just cut back to when 5 real life minutes have passed. More people have settled in. We reached a stagnant population of 3,100. We're still losing money, but we have more demand for offices, which is really great because those will eventually lead to generating more profits. So I'm also promptly going to zone them in this new office area right here. It's even gonna be connected up by foot so people can walk if they want to. Pretty nice. Adding offices also made our city grow again. I didn't add any new housing space, so apparently it's the jobs that sparks new population, and our unemployment is now down to 35%, so almost 30% from the peak of 60. It looks like to grow more we need more housing, so I zoned some mixed use right here and some more medium density just to slowly fill in. Also, it would probably make sense to connect up these two sides, because currently if you want to go from here to here, you have to go all the way around and cross the highway. I realized this here with a pedestrian tunnel. I think it looks quite nice. It goes in here under the highway and comes back out on this side. This was the best way I could do it. but now people can cross over here, which is pretty good. And suddenly now we also have a lot of demand for commercial and for offices, which I'm just gonna zone in. Now we're almost facing problems of running out of space. And also we have this massive traffic jam right here, but I hope that this is mostly from all the people moving in. Of course, the connection here is far from being good, but I hope to fix that with a later connection to the highway somewhere down here. Maybe we could run a street here under the bridge and then up here. This would allow another route and should split at least the traffic going to the other side of town. And it should also be better for service vehicles. Yeah, and a lot of people are already starting to use it. So this alleyway was a really good idea. Every once in a while I'm also adding more parks wherever they fit in nice, in like weird squares such as this one. And then we already need more offices, maybe even on the side of the wind park here. And we have more housing demand. So let's try to fill as much of that as possible as well. Of course, this will also increase traffic again, but now we have this entire thing zoned up, and at some point there's just nothing more to zone, and then traffic should reduce. The great thing is our city is back to being profitable and demand is just growing and growing, same as our population count. So right now it very much seems we're over the hump where we face problems. I think the only essential thing we're missing is garbage collection, but I can just add a recycling center down here where it has access to both parts of town. We're missing a lot of money for it. Let's take a loan, and apparently I can't fit it in exactly where I want it, so let's put it here for now. That unlocks milestone 6, and I hope that it does not annoy these people too much. Overall, the city is doing well. We're profitable, we're growing. Yes, the people aren't too happy and there's like some few things about healthcare, but I even put the service budget back up to 100%. And the city's growing and we have a lot of demand for everything. So yes, you can build a city without industry. Let me know if you want to see me continue this city, expand beyond this one tile. I hope you enjoyed this episode and happy gaming.